Good morning and welcome to The Beautiful Game. It's going to be a wonderful show today. My name is Mike Mesika and Toyosi Afolayo is here with me. How are you doing, Toyosi?
Yeah, I'm doing very fine. Good morning, Mike.
Yes. Of course, Sam is around. You see him in just a bit due to a little bit of circumstances there. But you just see him in a very short bit. He's already in the studio. But a great week of football, right?
Yeah, it was.
From the Champions League to Europa League to Conference League. So Man U now, they don't buy ref. I've gotten back to Ferguson time. We have Man U started to buy ref.
I'm on time. Yeah.
What was that? We saw those highlights here. What was that red card for? How in any universe, in any timeline, is that a red card?
You know, I don't understand why fans would come out and begin to side with their clubs when they are being, when it favors them. When I say when it favors, I mean the cheat favors them. But when it goes against them, you shout PGMOL is crap. You shout the European referees are crap. But now you went to the San Mamés and of course you got a red card in favor of your club.
Well, the funny thing
the game could have been balanced.
What was VAR for? You took time. You saw it over and over again. Did you see how the guy fell? You know that it was not from that contact.
Sometimes the way the referee, I mean, whatever the VAR says, cannot override the referee.
Oh, yes.
VAR can only make
suggest to him,
that to you that okay, this is where
the referee had a chance to see it. And the VAR is talking to him, giving him, their own insight also. Of course, they cannot override.
That is where the new rule of referees coming out to explain your decision comes in. Referees should have their own press conference. Also, question them, okay, why did you do this?
Maybe at the end.
At the end, ask. But I do not like the idea. Because if you cost me a point in the game, or you'll be like, okay, after all, after the game, you can't do anything to me.
Yeah.
I won't be suspended. So it's quite unfortunate.
Quite unfortunate, yeah. But Manchester United, of course, with 3 goals ahead, it looks like they're in the finals. And then we are probably looking at an all-English Europa League final.
Yeah.
And if that happens, England would have 6 teams in the Champions League next season.
Doesn't mean that they had a good season. Doesn't mean.
Well, yes.
The domestic league is the most important thing. 38 good weeks that you've played against your peers.
Yes.
And of course, you're making
14, 16.
relegate. If not for the fact that
how bad the other teams are.
18, 19, 20, if not even bad, you're in a battle.
In fact, second half of the season, Man United is in the relegation.
So I don't just think we should say that Tottenham and United had a good season. Of course, there were so many games in the Europa League also, but we know eye test shows that they are in a bad place currently.
Let's talk about Tottenham Hotspur. If Ange Postecoglou should win the Europa League, is that enough for Tottenham to leave him at the helm of affairs?
The problem is not Ange himself. It is a thing of mentality at the club. I'm sure the players want to back him.
Who is responsible for the mentality? I think it's the coach.
It is not just the coach. It's a club thing. If the club was interested in sacking him, he would have done that very early in the season.
Okay, but now, are you saying that is it going to be justified if they sack him?
If he doesn't win the Europa League,
he should be sacked. But if he wins, does that mean that is it enough for him to stay? He has lost.
The players.
He has lost 18 matches in the league. That's almost every year. Just almost like.
So is this the first time Spurs have been Spursy?
No, but this is too bad.
They
are in the top. At least you know that these are top 4 for a very long time. Top 6
for the past 10 years. They've been top 4, top 6.
Yes, and you are talking about 14th, 16th. It's been very bad. Spurs are not the title contender, but they are one of the top teams.
Even if you would tell them last season, they intentionally finished out of Champions League because of this Son kick just for banter of Arsenal. 2 seasons ago, they were part of those people that also determined who won the league. So it is a thing about the mentality shift at the club. This season, they've been porous, having to lose senior players in terms of injuries. Romero out. But they've had a makeshift defense. At the time, Vicario was out, and it was Foster that was in goal. This season, they've not been able to defeat any big side. They've been beaten 5-1.
They've been terrible.
Even Arsenal, the worst season of Arteta was 8th place. 8th place, look at 14.
Okay, we'll show you that match. We'll just take a short time out now. Let's take a look at Tottenham. But in the Europa League, themselves and Manchester United, they've been excellent.
This is the Europa League. Remember that no team from the Champions League is coming down.
All right, welcome back. Sam Adeyemi, of course, is in the house. Sam, you're welcome. Great to have you this morning.
Great to be here, guys. I'm enjoying the conversation already.
Yes,
and,
yes.
Good morning to our viewers.
Yes, wonderful. So you see, let's have your take. He has had his own take. Let's have your take on the Man U situation and all of that. But prior to the match, I mean, I was thinking that Athletic Bilbao, they've been solid at home this season. It's not easy to beat them at San Mamés. Against Man U, they seemed so. It was like they seemed so brittle. I saw even without the penalty, they didn't play well. But let's just look at what are your thoughts on that penalty, that foul, the red card, that penalty, and the match in general? So
definitely you can talk about the fact that they lost 3 goals, and everyone will see that because sometimes it's the scoreline we see. But then I think that penalty, it's not even the penalty, it's the red card that played. Yes, it's the second goal, but then it played a major role. I've been trying to remember, have I ever seen a red card given that situation before? I still can't really think about it because, yes, it's a foul, in a clear goal scoring opportunity.
Would not give that penalty.
It should have just been a PK, and that's it. And then the ball should have, the match should have gone on. But for whatever, between the referee and the VAR, how that they came about the decision to issue Vivian a red card is still very, very... it's something that we haven't seen, and then the discussion will be out there. Manchester United, to be fair, have been solid in Europe. Yes, and I think they're still the only team unbeaten in Europe so far, among all in all the 3 tiers of the European tournament. So they've been great, but that is a match that would have been a very good spectacle. But like I've so there are many Manchester United fans, and I'm sure some of them also understand, you can never be so sure of United. Yes, they are 3 goals up, but they are not home and dry yet.
They are not home and dry yet. Okay, but there's the possibility of an all-English final. So that means England will have 6 teams if that happens.
Yeah, it's Bodo Glimt, who has been a very solid side.
They've taken out Lazio.
They took out Lazio.
They took out...
They've been... And it's I had to go look about that. That side
is a wonderful run.
They are in the northernmost part. In fact, they are one of 2 club side that plays in the... that have been allowed to play in Europe. They are in the northernmost part of Norway. I think there's one other Swedish club as well, Troms. And those are the 2 club sides that play in that northernmost. It's one of the places that nobody wants to go and play football in Europe.
Very cool.
Very cool. And for a country, a town of less than, I think, 6,000, 7,000 people or so.
That's a community.
So they've been very, very solid.
And
getting to the semis
if you know
alone
big pass,
is huge.
Of course, no.
Forever, yes, good for Spurs that they've taken a very good advantage in the first leg. But then, you can't trust Spurs, and then you cannot rule out Bodo Glimt based on the performance so far in the Europa League.
Let's go to the Conference League, of course. Most likely, Betis, of course, taking a 2-1 lead. Antony, you know, as much as I've always felt this guy is not so much of a player, but was Man U the problem? Or is Man U the problem?
Toxic work environment.
And because in as much as he might not be, yes, but he's showing that he is... he can contribute to a squad decently. Like, let's just say, because how many goals in so far since January? He has in every game. If it's not a goal, if it's not an assist, at least a major contribution. High ranking on this thing. We can see him in the big matches. So what happened at Man U? He was basically Baba was gone. At
Ajax, he was one of the prodigies that they wanted to push out. Wonderful footballer. Or those sometimes can be unserious with his skills and all that thing. You call him Pokoli.
You now don't call him Pokoli.
But in the range of it, if you look at him, you see that yes, there is this talent within him. But when you have a lot of pressure on you, Man United is a big club. They might not be doing well, but regardless, when you put on that shirt, there's more of pressure on you to deliver. And it was bought for 100 million. That's a lot of money. So going to Spain, where they don't run too much, all they do is tactical football. You would enjoy your game. Then he has Isco, who, of course, is the orchestrator. In United, nobody can play what Isco is doing. If you want to say maybe
Bruno Fernandes,
Bruno is not in that mode.
Well,
Bruno is more. I understand. You can put him like a number 8. Yeah,
I'm inclined to agree with you on that.
It is not.
So you are saying, for you, your points are pressure. And of course, the pace of the league.
I don't think I won't take the second part, that pace of the league. I don't think it has anything to do. But then the pressure, yes, there's less high ball on him. This Manchester United, you've seen how many of the players, especially when you put the numbers of how much they paid for them. Harry Maguire, solid at Leicester, and then because he was bought for 80 million, nobody seems to see all the good he does. It's only his
money.
But we've have that with so many players in that team.
People are talking about press also, that the press is a
So
major
it's-
contributor.
yeah, I think just the general feeling. It's Manchester United, the biggest club in England. So everybody is eyes on
No longer the
No,
biggest
no,
club.
It's not true.
Yeah, Liverpool is
let's
the
not
biggest
give-
club in England.
Let's not give information. The reason why, let's make it clear.
So when I say the
On league
biggest club,
title,
in-
wait,
biggest
no,
club
no,
in
no,
England.
based
When
on
I say
media,
biggest
based
club
on
in
media
England,
and
I'm not
popularity.
talking about titles alone.
Based on media and
The
popularity.
2020
only
now with
reason
Liverpool.
that Man United ever held against Liverpool, they are not equal on that.
Yes, on the league
No,
side.
but
I'm saying
when
biggest
see,
club
if you
based
go anywhere,
on-
United is bigger than Liverpool.
Based on the
How?
reach,
How
based
bad
on the
now?
reach across
yes.
the world.
In fact,
Globally.
and also, no,
So-
no, that's no. That I was telling somebody here that for those of you who just started watching football at Gen Z, you don't know how Man U was for 20 years the #1 brand in football, bigger than Madrid, bigger than Barca, bigger than Bayern. They were the #1 brand. Deloitte held them
Yes.
for 20 years.
For 20
Real
years now.
Madrid came and took over the position for them. So well, the football as a brand,
As a- if
you
Manchester
go to
United
Tokyo,
was the
go to
#1
China,
brand.
for a
go
long
to
time.
For
Africa, you
20
see.
years. So it's not even, it's not even the biggest club in England, the biggest in the world. So
But they are no
that's-
longer.
And that pressure
So-
tells on everybody. You see Marcus Rashford now also in there. You see
Yeah.
which other player they did loan out.
I can't
They are
say-
outperforming
we
well
can't say
outside.
so.
It's
of
the
Sancho,
pressure
though.
on them. And
Sancho still scored though.
yeah,
Nah.
he scored,
He scored.
yeah.
He did score.
I
He
think
did score. At least he did.
I
Even
think
if
he's
he's
top assist maker for Chelsea
Yes,
this season.
he did
sir.
score.
Even though he has only
My
scored
point
goals,
is that-
but I think he's the top assist maker for Chelsea. So
no
it's
matter how low, they all perform better.
Outside of
and
United.
also Man U.
for Antony, beautiful one that he's got in that environment where he can shine. And thank God for a coach like Pellegrini, who has just given him that freedom. See the goal he scored.
Yeah.
He tried with his left leg, he didn't win, and then he went with the right,
The
and
guy-
then
the
became
guy
a
said
worthy.
he has
Like,
never
what-
seen Antony shoot with
So
the
this is
right.
right, and then the ball was in the net, and we realized.
So that's confidence. You
So
know,
I want to believe by coming back in the summer, with what we've seen with Ruben Amorim, he has singled out Casemiro, especially when they talk about players who has had to improve and then I
themselves.
think it's something we will see with Antony. Less pressure coming back, and then maybe if he gets that same confidence that Pellegrini gives to him, Manchester United might just be the beneficiary for it for next season.
All right, good. Let's dive a little bit into women football. We'll come back to male football. In the English FA have just announced that from the 1st of June,
Yeah.
they will ban transgender
Yeah.
females, transgender women from competing in female sports.
Yeah.
This has always been, I mean, in America, the US has been a front runner in this case. And this is for us to say that I personally don't have a problem. I don't think anybody has a problem with you being transgender. It's your choice. You made your own choice. That's not the issue here. But the issue we have, or I have, let me put it to myself, is where you take somebody who is biologically born male, who has higher testosterone levels, who has higher adrenaline, who naturally is made to subdue others, and then the person, some of these people have performed in male sports and did poorly.
Yeah.
Then they now go and transgender,
They go
go
beat
to
them.
female sports,
But I don't want to-
and then they now start running over all the ladies. And then you see some women even saying, no, leave them. The girls are girls.
Yeah.
What is this?
Like you mentioned, maybe if you want to be a male or female, but
If you want to be Bobrisky, it's
so
not
whatever
your-
it
it's
is you
your
want to
own.
be. But then when it comes to sports, let it be the
A male is a
biological
male,
male,
a female is a
playing
female.
and a biological female, and not
Simple.
So those are the people that should. And the FA has only just went ahead with what the UK Supreme Court has also
Has ordered.
So they were just trying to affirm. Everybody understands that if you're transgender, except if maybe they can organize a kind of
A
sport.
league.
That's what they should do
that
now.
one.
But then we don't want cheating.
So this is, it should have never been a discussion.
Yes.
Even
Yeah,
for
do you
workplace.
understand? That's
It
what
should have not been a
I'm saying. It
discussion.
should not be a discussion.
And I think it is the movement of the United States that is making everybody sit down now. Before, transgender was under Joe Biden and everybody, it
yes,
was normal.
yes.
But Trump coming in,
With-
of
with
course,
Donald Trump, yes.
said no, signed. And there were some states that still did not agree in the United States until he said, I will stop allocation to this. Bro, it's just normal. You cannot bring somebody who is... If I transition into being a female and I go into a female sport, I'll be the GOAT.
Yes,
No,
in
because I'll
fact,
be the
I'm
goat.
telling you. I
Yeah.
mean, imagine somebody that.
Wait,
So there's-
Imagine
oh,
that.
wait, let me say,
Imagine
okay,
somebody like-
Rashford.
No, we don't need to. But
Well, let's not.
it's
just
logical.
imagine a very
It's
average
just
male,
any
footballer,
average male footballer
decides to take some
yeah,
this thing and
This
says
is
identify
just,
as
yeah.
female.
Under 17
And then-
football team. they played against
the Super
Falcons.
Falcons. I think, yeah, as one of the
Remember,
friendlies.
What was
And
the
I think it was a
scoreline like?
5-0 win or something.
For the under 17.
Those boys will
Imagine
win
for
now
a
because see,
friendly
the
game.
energy level is different.
It's different. You know, so I think so. Like we said, it should not be an issue. And for the FA, for me, I wouldn't even say they are doing it. But for me, you didn't even have to wait. It should not be an issue. And that, like we say, want to reiterate again. No, we don't have it against LGBTQIFGXYZ.
Do your rainbow in peace.
Be whatever letter you want to be. But you see, play amongst your peers. That's what they say. When you're going to court, they tell you, okay, you have a jury of your peers.
Yes.
Be somewhere where you
That's
are.
what we do. For example, in boxing,
yes.
there are weight categories.
Exactly.
So-
You mentioned that even Caster Semenya even had issues, so much so that
They had
she's
to be
female.
taking
Yes.
pills
But
and
because of
injections.
she had naturally higher
Higher
testosterone
testosterone.
levels, it even became an issue because it seemed as undue and unfair
Barbara
advantage.
Banda, the Zambian
Yeah,
footballer.
the Zambia for a long
CAF
time.
did
yeah.
not allow her
Yeah.
to play AFCON.
It
But
took
it was
a
only
while
Olympics.
before they get the Olympics, and now that before she's agreed, the Algerian boxer Iman Khalid,
That lady that
lives.
understand
Yeah,
how
that
that thing
fought-
was
so that
in
things.
the Olympics as well. For those are
Females that
biological
have-
female that
have
has
high
higher testosterone than their regular.
How
so
much
they are
more
not
the
to not
males?
talk of a male. I think we just say I'm with Trump. Yeah. We have just two gender, male and female.
Yes. Yeah, if there's anything, just let it be. All right. Okay. Let's move on from that to let's talk about Lautaro Martinez. Just very short. This is just off the Lautaro Martinez will not be available while we're talking about Champions League for the second leg of the Champions League semi-final. Internationally Milan versus Barca, who gave us one of the most interesting matches in a very long time for the Champions League. Lautaro Martinez will not be there. How much, because I will not say would this affect, how much would this affect Inter's chances against Barcelona at the Giuseppe Meazza San Siro?
So how much is the further when you look at the other three strikers in that team? I mean, the other three backup strikers, outside Lautaro, outside Marcos Thuram, none of them have 5 goals this season.
That's a
Remy,
problem.
Joaquin Correa,
Yeah.
and then Marco Arnautovic.
But how many matches have they played?
So if they've had the games, they've had enough time.
Arnautovic
Okay,
just
but
played one
look
year.
at
They play
Marcos
games.
Thuram against Barcelona.
So I'm saying
He
was-
became
No,
he became prime.
No. It was not
I'm
permanent.
just trying to-
He was
Apart from
prime
that flick, nothing else.
He scored 2 goals now.
Where?
No, even
Dumfries.
the Yamal.
Okay, sorry, pardon me.
The Yamal
Dumfries.
goal can be
Dumfries.
traced. That Yamal first goal can be traced to Marcus Thuram.
Yes, he
not
didn't mark him
marking him enough. But
Wow.
it's a beautiful
It's,
goal.
but
but
it's not the only one because
No,
they
but-
backed off. The defenders backed off. Barcelona even
that's-
went away.
okay.
But so I'm just saying to show you how much Lautaro
was important.
influence in that team. He has 8 goals in the Champions League this season, and then so he's got 12 in Serie A. But Champions
21
League is
overall,
where
yeah.
he has done so well this season. For Inter Milan, this is a big loss.
It's a big loss,
In
but can we-
comparison to whatever it is we talk about Lewandowski for
Exactly. That's
Barcelona,
what-
it's a different
That's
one.
why I wanted
It's a
to come
bigger
into
loss
now.
to
For
Inter Milan
Inter
than
than
Lewa is
for a
yes.
Barca.
There's a replacement for Lewa. And of course, it's not. If you look at Barcelona, Lewa doesn't do the job. He's only
Very
just
true.
receive the ball and
And
shoot.
score.
But Lamine, Rafinha, Pedri,
Are the
are those
ones.
ones. They are the ones doing the job.
Okay, now let's talk about Lamine Yamal. In just the past week, his name, prior to this time, Rafinha has always been the front runner when it comes to Barcelona and the Ballon d'Or contender. But with that performance against Inter, everybody, in fact, we started seeing comparisons with Messi because that was his 100th match.
Yeah.
At 17 years. Messi played 100 matches at 20 years. Even
At
though
his
Messi had
age.
41 goals,
At his age,
15
Messi has
assists.
only played 9 games.
yes,
Yeah.
41
Even
goals, 15
Ronaldo has played
assists.
up to 20 years.
Exactly. But Lamine Yamal has 23 goals, 22, I think, yes, 22,
33
23, and 33 assists.
Same
And-
goal contribution.
Yes, and then we're
55.
looking at it, and the point is this, not for now, is this the player that could equal or maybe surpass Lionel Messi?
Not at all.
Why?
I think the only difference is that there are more games to play. Look at Champions League now. Before they used to play lesser
6.
games, and then now we have over 15 games in,
Yeah.
in the Champions League. I think their style is even different.
Mm.
Lamine barely scores goals. But if you score goal, you know that it is decisive. Messi would start part against anybody. So I don't think they are the same. I can liken Lamine Yamal to the likes of Riyad Mahrez, Neymar. They are those genre of players. They are different from Lionel Messi. He would not score 30 goals in a calendar. I don't let him call in a season. I mean, league season. He would not score 30. Maybe when he's improving, but right now, it doesn't look like a sharpshooter. It seems like an assist playmaker kind of stuff for me.
No, not really. I think he's going to get numbers, and he's going to get very
Goals?
good numbers. Yes, he's going to.
He would not
He's
equal
going to.
Messi. He would not
He
equal
is
Messi.
going to.
I don't think so, but
He's
yeah,
going to get
let's
good
see.
numbers.
Okay.
And that's because at 17, his decision making is already
Elite.
beyond the years. So imagine then 2-3 more years, and then you see how many goals he gets to.
But I feel like Lamine will have more assists than
Than
goals.
goals. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Definitely. But I'm saying when he's talking about the numbers, he's also going to get
He's
the
going to
numbers.
get
Lionel
goals.
Messi at the point nobody saw Lionel Messi becoming the goal
Yes,
scorer.
the goal scorer.
Yeah,
Very
he
true. I
became.
understand.
So
I understand. Yeah. It was the coach how the transition
yes,
him.
over
the
the
first
years,
line,
and then you will see that with him. But then, Lamine is great. In fact, like Ray Ferdinand said, he's a genius. But I saw a tweet, and that fear has also been creeping to me as
About
well.
injury?
Yes, that players like him, maybe this is their peak.
Yeah,
Maybe,
no,
very true. Very
Maybe
true.
in 2-3 years, that's all the best we are going to have.
Oh,
of him.
no.
I am telling
The
you.
longevity of a
See.
Messi, the longevity of a Ronaldo might not be
Toyosi,
something that
let me
is
tell
going
you,
to be.
Let me tell you, generally, this is fact. Generally, football peak years has reduced.
Yeah, that's reduced now.
But back when, so in the noughties, early 2000s and 90s, peak year for a striker was
20.
27,
Yeah. Those
26, 27, 28 safe. But now, a 28-year-old striker is old.
So
For people.
And someone said that even in Messi time, would a Lamine Yamal have even been
Not
in
at
the
all.
first team?
No,
Nobody would even
definitely.
consider a
Nobody would.
20-year-old.
Messi was not in the first
when
team at the time.
Dalima started, he was a prodigy. Dalima at 20
was
was a prodigy.
It was already a Ballon
And
d'Or.
of course, because he got a Ballon
Yeah.
d'Or. What I'm saying is that I want to follow Sam there. He's thinking because the peak of footballers has dropped when it comes to age.
So
You
they
have younger
perform-
people.
they perform younger
Yes,
now.
They perform younger.
Yeah.
So you have younger people. Look at a Donnarumma. Have you seen
From 16?
his
He
numbers?
I think it was 15 when he made his.
Baba,
Milan debut.
Back in the noughties, keepers to reach peak na 30.
At 16, that's when he became the number one
I'm telling you.
for
For
Milan.
Exactly. Look at
He got
Donnarumma's numbers.
captaincy.
By the time Donnarumma is done, if he goes to the... So imagine Donnarumma has a Buffon longevity. Think about it.
He got each 1,000 appearance.
So
because I know I was in secondary school when that boy made his appearance.
Yeah.
And like I said, that fear has been with me. But then when I saw, and that person cited a particular example, and everyone should look at Eden Hazard.
Eden Hazard.
Eden Hazard moved to Madrid at 27.
It was finished.
Supposed to be peak.
That was supposed to be yes, because as at this age, Eden Hazard was already making headways at Lille.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
by 18 or 19, that's when
Yes.
he won the league with Lille, and then at 21 he moved to Chelsea, and we know all of that because Lamine is such player as well, players that can
But
dazzle.
I still do not want to
but,
believe.
but then maybe their longevity might be an issue, and that's I pray it doesn't, because at 17 playing 100 games is unheard of.
Well,
It's-
he's
it's
going to be
unheard of.
18 in June, so you
Oh,
can
no,
call him.
no.
You can call him an 18-year-old boy.
But playing 100 games,
It
that's
is.
so much
It is-
games
it
for
is
a
a lot.
footballer to even at any age. Not to now talk
And
about
let's be
17.
serious,
So
Baba, it's-
that's my
it
fear
is
with
not-
him.
it is
He's
not
a
up to 2
great
years.
talent,
It is not
and
up to 2 years.
The comparison
That's
with
the funny
Messi,
thing.
the comparison with Cristiano, comparison with Mbappe are justified.
It is
But
comparison that is
just
my
my
problem.
fears
It is only
is
comparison
that
that
I
is my
hope
problem.
He gets to have the same longevity as these
No,
players.
comparison is my own problem. And if Barcelona don't milk this ball enough, that is when, Rafinha, of course, leave Barcelona maybe in next 2-3 years. But you need to get someone that can complement him, not you saying, okay, we only have Lamine Yamal. Give him rest when it is needed. What happened to Gavi with Spain should not happen. What happened to Fati should not happen.
Pedri.
What happened to Pedri? These three Barcelona players, every season Barcelona churn out young boys.
Yeah.
And it has happened. This season also, Casado got injured, ACL. But he's back already. But he didn't really get so much
Because
games.
he's a young boy.
They are young boys. They
And
get
in
injured.
fact, Lamine, Casado, they've not yet grown. They're still growing. It's at a 22,
Their body is not
23
strong enough.
that you can even say, okay, this person has come to food. So they have some organs that are still growing.
This season, Pedri is 22, and he has not missed any game with injury. That's the first season. This is his first season that he has not missed
Okay, all
injuries.
right. Still on the Champions League. Let's move over to Arsenal. While previewing the Champions League second leg, semi-final, second leg. And Arsenal will be up against PSG. We're speaking about Inter and Barca. And even though it's just one goal, this was about the same scenario. I'm telling you, I remember and I told people, Liverpool beat PSG in France. But I told people, I said, look, this Liverpool will not... It was just so obvious. I didn't even if they won, the miles, as in that performance, I'd never seen such a drop-off. When I mean drop-off, Champions League started, Liverpool were called the best team in Europe. They topped Barcelona.
Yes.
They beat Madrid.
Topped everybody.
You understand? They beat Madrid in the group stages. They were playing exuberant, fluid football, topping the EPL, in the cups. They were there and everything. But that month, March, that PSG was what took the cog out of the wheel of this thing. So Arsenal are in that position where they've lost one leg. But do you think that Arsenal can come back? It's just one goal. You think Arsenal can come back against PSG?
I think Arsenal can come back, and I'm tipping Arsenal to actually go to the finals. Yes.
Do you want to chop your knuckle? Chop your knuckle.
And it's the fact that Arsenal had their chances as well. Yes.
Okay.
We look at the first leg, PSG all everywhere. For PSG should have gone at least 3. There was a Gonzalo Ramos very
late in the game.
There was who was the other player also that had a miss. But then Arsenal also had some good chances that they could have converted, and then this match wouldn't have been this way. But it's just a long goal. Going into the second leg, I feel Arsenal is going to do the job. Unfortunately for them was the fact that they missed
Thomas.
Thomas Partey was a huge one.
Okay, just before you pick up, the number we put, somebody are calling the number now, it's just for WhatsApp, right? 08020815247. Maybe we'll take 1 or 2 WhatsApp calls, but for messages, we'll take up your messages here. So once again, 08020815247. You can comment on any of the topics we're talking about, and of course, I'll read your message. Yeah, go ahead.
So Thomas Partey was a major miss, but then it should be available for the second leg. And then a player that did perform below par, that probably a lot of people, was Martin Odegaard, who was the captain.
What about Martinelli?
Yes, you can call Martinelli had a good chance that he missed, but then I'm saying a player that performed below par in that game. If the way Bukayo shown was the way Odegaard decides to also show on that day, it would have been different. But then you can't blame him. He's playing against probably the best midfield in this season anywhere. Across the best midfield of Vitinha, Joao Neves and Fabian Ruiz. They're the best trio. In comparison to any midfield right now, they're the best. And so sometimes it's understandable, and that's where people are saying the Thomas Partey factor would have even probably aided him. Mikel Merino is not a Thomas Partey, so it's a different thing. But then Arsenal have their chances. The defense of PSG can be breached. We saw
not
that
strong enough.
We saw that with Nice. Nice, just a game just before the Champions League. We saw it with Nice.
Look at the pass Nice gave to Martinelli. So it's normal.
It's a side that I still believe can do the damage. And like I said, I'm tipping Arsenal to go through.
Okay. As it stands here, we're talking about Barca, Inter, and all of that. What are your calls? Second leg, who's going to play in the finals and who will win the Champions League?
Well, I so much believe in an Arsenal comeback, but it's going to be very dramatic.
But then we're talking, it's not so much of a big, it's just one goal.
When I said, because
in fact, the match starts.
No Dembele for PSG.
Is that confirmed?
And yes,
that's confirmed.
Yes, confirmed.
Wow.
His injury, and one thing about,
and for me, that's also one shot for Ballon d'Or.
Yes.
Dembele has been.
He won't get it
For 2025. That guy has been the best player.
He's
but he won't get it.
The top scorer among
if they win, they've won that treble.
Yeah, they already have the.
If they win the Champions League, now treble. And
is it the first time? Is it the first time we are seeing?
And the voters will want to give.
And a French player again.
They want to give it. And for me, the difference. People are talking about Arsenal beating PSG in that match.
Okay, in the group stage.
Kvaratskhelia didn't play.
Yeah.
People are not talking about that. But see that guy called who call it Karashika now.
No.
That guy.
But do you know
he can be so? Sometimes he's just there, but he can be so dangerous.
He was not so effective in the second half. I understand.
Yes, he wasn't.
See,
it was the first
20 minutes. First 20 minutes, that was when they did their job. And Arsenal were being cautious because some players were on yellow cards already. 1. 2, if you concede the second goal trying to get one, it will be very, very hard. So a second leg when everybody will be like available and then say do or die affair, you can go all out. Dembele was Rice did not mark Dembele. That was why he could shoot from there. They didn't get clear chances when you could probably tap in. Arsenal got chances to tap in. Bukayo did so many. Nobody could do. If Merino was up, there were chances when they could have crossed and headed the ball. But Trossard could not know the ball. Martinelli could do nothing. The attack was dead in front.
Okay.
So it's just
before you pick up, we have some messages here. This is Peter. Peter from Antony says, I believe Arsenal can get a comeback for the Champions League, but you guys need to congratulate us. You never walk alone. There's enough time.
That's true. That's
Liverpool,
true.
There's enough time. There's enough time. I think the bigger one will be when the title has been given to them when they held the cup. So there's enough time.
We already knew this maybe
Yes.
probably from the
We
match
will.
that nobody can.
Yes, we will. Hashtag the beautiful game. Arsenal, Idrik says Arsenal has a full chance on the second leg because they showed they could prevent PSG from scoring. Both teams have no number 9. If Partey is back, Arsenal should do better.
Yeah.
Idrik, thank you very much for that. This is from Good Morning, TVC Sports Show. My name is Francis. I'm a Man United fan. You pops there buying refs, have you? So my team is lifting the only trophy that's taking us to the Champions League next season.
To
Will
go,
Man
and
U win it?
to go and embarrass themselves.
Okay.
Against Spurs, they should be able to win.
Okay. A PSG all the way. This is from Lamine Black. Says PSG all the way. All right. Thank you. Quite a number of messages coming here. Good morning, Benga. Benga from Moe. Benga, you just greeted me and said good morning. Good morning to you too. Even though it's still morning.
Almost afternoon.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So if Arsenal, like we said, who goes through? Who picks it amongst the 4 teams?
Arsenal,
Who do you think?
Barcelona.
Look, for me, I don't think anything is set in stone. It could be
Definitely.
Inter PSG.
No, so like
Because I mean,
the fact
from
is-
what we saw from that first leg, we know that Inter, yes, Baka, we had the second half they didn't pick off and all that, but we know that Inter with the coach and with what they played, we didn't see so much of a Chalanoglu. We saw Dumfries take up the some. We know that Inter with that midfield that they have, they can use that and control the game. You never know what could happen. For me, anything could happen. It's open. It was a very interesting match. I enjoyed the match.
Inter did not play anything. Why? The reason why I said that. I understand he would have something to say, but the game plan of Inter on a normal day did not come to play. The rotations, they did not rotate that day. Barcelona did not come forward. They were trying to, of course, contain Lamine. When Lamine is on the ball, you see 2 people coming to hold off Lamine.
Okay, we
And
understand that. I know. We're not talking about the first leg now. Let's move forward.
For,
and
for,
just
for,
see-
this, for this second leg for
Yes.
me, yeah, I would pick, of course, my options are
Okay.
popular.
Okay.
FC Barcelona and
Okay,
Arsenal.
and Arsenal.
And
Yeah.
to be fair, everyone can see that Barcelona have they are the top scorer in the Champions
League,
League. If also they've considered a lot, and then you can talk about the front 3. They are gunning for the MSN numbers, though they won't be able to get.
They won't be able to get there.
And without Lewandowski, they've got a good backup in Ferran Torres.
the Shark.
Like I said, the numbers are good for them, and they're a
Okay.
team that can score goals. But then we should not forget how strong Inter Milan can be defensively.
All
Yes,
right.
they might have considered 3 in the first leg, but a very resolute side.
All right, let's just take this one phone call because once we put up the numbers, a lot of us started calling in. Daniel is online. Hello, Daniel. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Oh,
Ah,
what's a lot?
Daniel. Okay, all right. Please, let's just take messages. We know, like I said, we have always said it. Season on the end, so we'll have shows that we'll have open call. We could just call in the gist. They talk about a lot that's happened, right? So let's move over to Remo Stars. Remo Stars, and Remo Stars, of course, are league champions of the Nigerian Premier Football League. It's not news again. We had seen it for a while that they were going to be champions. Now, what next? Continental football. Nigeria has been. If earlier this morning we were talking about that if there was a coefficient system, we should not have any team in Champions League again for the past 5 years, because the coefficient I know that normally Europe does, they do it in five year gaps. You know that our coefficient is basically 0. Because I don't think in 5 years have we qualified for group stage of Champions League.
I
don't think so.
I can't remember.
In 5
But
years, we have
Confederations
not.
Cup, that's
Yes,
Europa
absolutely.
League.
But in Champions League, we're not qualified for the group stage, right? But now we're talking that. What next? What should we do as a federation? Because now they are to support Remo Stars when they go into the continent. Can Remo Stars challenge the likes of the Memelodis, the Al Halis, the Esperances, the what are the Moroccan clubs, the Wydats, the Raja Casablancas, and all of that? What do we need to do? What do Remo Stars need to do to take at least give us a semi-final bet or something?
That's
in the
semi-final.
Champions
It's a
League?
long shot. You don't even say quarter-final.
Okay.
So they are going to go through qualifier first.
Yeah.
So let's see how they
How they
progress in
perform.
there. And to be fair, from what we've seen, Remo Stars is a very structured club, and I think it's the second private-owned club that is winning the league.
Yes.
Since Julius Berger did it in 2000. That's over 25 years before I have another private club owning it.
Wow.
And then we've had a very good solid side. They came second, and then
Third, second,
and then before
first.
so
they've been building, right?
there's
Yeah.
something. And with Daniel Ogumo, they did so much respect to Jabal as his
they call his
formerly
name.
called. So we do know how great how good he is as a coach as well.
Yeah.
We saw him even with the national team as well. Yes, on the side, they seem to have players, they seem to have the technical crew, And then they have one of the best man in the game, Kuleshoname, who owns the club, has been is a great guy. So all the support they need, financially, I'm sure they are going to get that. But then the experience on the continent is different. In Europe, maybe you can just, I think the farthest, some places you can even go by train. But in Africa,
you carry plane, no?
But no, in Africa, there are some places you have to go that there are no direct flights. Yes. You have to go to another country before going to another country, except you want to do chartered flight. That's a lot of money.
They can do chartered flights.
That's what I'm saying. That's where when you say
value jets.
There has to be support.
There's a lot of support that has to come from the government.
When they are going to play in the continents, can we make them play earlier?
Our embassies, so
that when they travel,
consulates in those places, they need to be there. Yes, I'm not saying they haven't been there for our other clubs, but here we need more support now because this is not a government-owned club. This is a privately owned club.
They have to do well for us.
So we need that
we
more
need
support.
them to support.
Everywhere
when they go, let them carry their water. Let them carry
all
their
those
food.
things that we do.
It happened with the Yimba this season.
Yes.
It happened with the Yimba this season too. So I think for that plane own, they won't have an issue because their owner
also owns the
Value
Jets.
Yeah. And that Value Jet is the partner of NFF that takes Nigeria to everywhere we're going. These are direct flights.
I want to say
no problem.
that I have a strong belief in Remo stars in the continent this season. I believe that if we support them,
we'll be here by the end of the year,
and we give them the required, everything that they need. I think they'll do well.
But again, also is how they have to find a way to retain some of these players. We do know that. Yes, they're going to be offers in Malta, in Bangladesh, in
Belarus,
anywhere you can think
of
for some of these players, and due to economic situation, so many of them might be tempted to. We've seen it many times. The player goes away. they just. But
it won't be same thing with Remo
understand stars. That they are relatively being. Be one of the highest paying side in
the highest paid player is in their team.
What are they doing?
Anyway, 1 million naira per month.
Just like what Xabi Alonso did with Leverkusen, and these guys can say, okay, just
give us that 1 year. Yes.
Just give us that 1 year because. Leverkusen, that's basically what happened. Yeah. Xabi Alonso said, I'm not going. And spoke to the players. I said, look, let's just see what we can do with this 1 year.
I think that's good. Kuleshoname can try to do this with the players.
Give them like 100K increase.
And the entire crew. Let's do something on the continent, and then everybody can then start looking somewhere else.
We are going to round up very soon, but let's just wrap up with the under-20 Flying Eagles. They defeated Tunisia 1-0. Yes. And it's been a while. Cadet Championship has always been our forte. That's where we're very good at. But in recent years, we have underperformed in the last 10 years and all that. Yeah. Is this, do we go back to form? I know I mentioned to him when we talked about 2005 and how, the age issues and all of that. And it seems as though when there are easier ways to find out the real age of people, we started performing badly. What's going to happen? Can we say that this is under 20, or do we say that this is a way to build towards our next Super Eagles? I mean, we're complaining about Super Eagles being a lot of foreign import into it. They don't have that desire that you would expect. What are the chances around that 20?
The problem is the fact that a lot of players now don't even need your national team invitation to make their move abroad. And some of the national team handlers, sorry to say, they are using these players. They're using this tournament for showcase so that they can sell these players. So there's one of, my slot is here, my slot is this. But now, I know about 3 to 4 players in this team that are very, very good. Ebenezer Accord of Sporting Lagos, Okoro of Sporting Lagos also very good. Then Parabo of Remo Stars, none is now in Lillestrøm in Norway. So those players,
their age.
Yes, when you see them, you know that these boys are young. Okay. When you see them, I cannot speak.
We cannot talk about that.
I cannot speak.
Because it's what you present. It's the passport.
I cannot see. I cannot say same. I cannot say same for somebody else that I will not mention his name.
Okay.
Yeah. But I can assure you that we'll play Morocco tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes. Morocco won their first game 3-2.
3-2. Yes. So they're top the group now.
We need to same goal difference, same, but they scored more goal than us. We need to win against Morocco. When we win against Morocco tomorrow, then we're into the
Kenya is our last game.
Wonderful.
Let's see how they do.
Wonderful.
What is most important for most of these players is the fact that they should get to the semis so that they can qualify for the World Cup.
At least, and they'll get their move to Norway.
All right, let's wrap up with messages. Thank you. Quite a number of calls, a lot of them, but that number is for WhatsApp and not for calls. Let me take messages. We have a number of them. This is John. John from Ikorodu says, I know so many people will not want to hear this, but that is what's going to happen. The Champions League belongs to Barca and Europa belongs to Man U. and Europa Conference belongs to Chelsea. We didn't measure Chelsea, but you know what happens? You can follow us on YouTube where we can give you updates about that. The YouTube handle is The Beautiful Game with Mike, and you can get updates here. Abiola from Ota says, I see Inter qualifying with just one goal. Just one goal. PSG will go through, win, goalless draw. Okay, all right. This is from, okay, yeah, you said let's talk about Nigerian League, yes. This is immunity, yes, we spoke about it and all of that. It says, I think with Dembele out, Arsenal has 75% chances of going through. Okay, well, let's get, and you mentioned we spoke about Remo Star, so yes, we spoke about Nigerian League, and we hope to that they do well for us. This is Edric. Edric says, Federico Di Marco played unlike him that we know. He's always rugged and unbeatable, but Yamal made him look cheap. Inter needs to work on that role as Man United dealt with Nico Williams. Quite a number of messages here. Thank you. A lot of you that send messages, you can follow us on our YouTube handle. We didn't give them tips today, but Sam, you want to say something?
No, I just want to mention that I have said this on a different platform, so I think it's Inter, it's Arsenal in the finals. But that's what I think. Inter, Arsenal in the finals.
Barcelona, Arsenal, just like we have in the female.
Okay.
Same thing.
And if Barcelona should do that, it will be treble of trebles.
Yeah.
If they can win, it's something unheard of.
And I don't want to make Arsenal win one.
It has never happened before. But it's been a wonderful show. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. It's always a pleasure talking with you guys. We'll get to see how by next time we're here, we'll know the two teams who are in the finals of each of the European competitions. And things will be clear, of course, in the EPL also. It's been a wonderful show. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.